I really eat all kinds of food. I've tried being a vegetarian for a couple days. It did not work very well. I enjoy eating meat. I try to eat a balanced diet just because I work out a lot, and I think that it helps. Obviously, the better you eat, the better you're going to be able to perform physically. But um, I think college can also be a really hard time. So there's tendency sometimes to either miss breakfast or have food very late at night, and I think it's not very productive for my health, but tends to happen. I think it's been what I expected. I think it was fine. I liked having the marketplace a lot freshman year. Some people don't like it, but I always appreciated having the ability to go and you can eat as much, and they have a variety of options there. I think that it got harder sophomore year when you moved to food points because you then move to just being able to choose from a number of different options, and I tend to eat a lot of the same things every day. So I liked having the variety of options freshman year. I don't feel like I have that as much anymore. I think you definitely can. It just depends on where you go. There used to be a tendency that I would eat Chick-fil-A all the time because it was the closest thing that I could get. We don't have that anymore, but we have options like ABP, and you can get salads there. You can get pretty healthy things there. There are some places that aren't nearly as healthy, but I feel like there's always some kind of option that you can get, or you can also get healthy foods and make your own kind of meal if you go to the lobby shop and use your food points for that, or kind of getting creative. Maybe you can cook on your own if you so desire and have time for that. My food, well, that's probably a scary question to ask because I don't know fully where it comes from. Being that most of the places that we eat from are probably not locally produced food. I think Bon Appetit does. They always have signs up that talk about it a little more, but I mean, I find myself eating more often at some of the chains like the ABP or the Loop or places like that because it's usually pretty quick and it's on the way if I'm walking through the Bryan Center. Um, that's probably not quite as reassuring to think about that I don't really know where my food is coming from when I eat at those places. I think that we have there's less options this year, so I think in that sense it seems a little less. Well, I guess I would say that I don't think that was as productive of a change when you look at like a lot of the eateries have been taken off. I know that there are plans to increase, I guess, the number of places in the future, but in terms of this year, it just seemed like we got slighted a little bit, in my opinion. There were places like Subway where I knew that I could get like, and granted, you're not always going to get a healthy option at Subway, but you can at least choose to eat healthy there, and it's quick. I kind of liked having that option there. They took off that. They took off a few of the other places that I would find myself eating. So other than that, I don't really know too many more about what changes were made and why. So I don't know if I can fully speak on that question. No, I actually think that it's probably pretty. I mean, I've only talked to people at a few different universities, but um, I know that the options that we have here seem to be greater than what is offered at a lot of other universities. I know some of my friends that are at other campuses that people that I went to high school with have told me that they either have only like one dining hall pretty much that they're eating from, or they're eating a lot of food off campus. So we do have a lot of different options here, and you can eat at all these different places on food points, which makes it convenient and easy for our students. So I think we definitely have the options. It's just a matter of I guess what people expected. For some people, they may have expected different options to be on campus, and then for people who have been here, like being a senior, I guess we've seen things change around, and that sort of disorients you if you're used to eating a certain way. I really don't know. Sorry. I don't really know the answer to that, but I know that they try to do they put up signs about certain things about like when they're growing stuff locally or which things are organic and which things are produced. So I think that if you're gonna, I could totally be wrong about this also, but it seems as though if you're trying to follow the like fair food practices, the places you would want to eat are probably going to be the ones that are operated by Bon Appetit rather than the chain restaurants that we have on campus where they're most likely not following any fair food practices. Um, I think the answer would probably be yes, but in the society that we live in, it's probably near impossible for that to be a reality, which is the unfortunate truth. And I think that happens quite often when food gets commodified and capitalized. That's generally what happens, is that you try to produce as much as you can, and because of that, you're going to see that it's not going to be feasible, and maybe it could be feasible on a smaller scale, but with large chain restaurants like McDonald's, which we do have on campus, you're not really going to see fair food practices at a place like that. And as places expand and grow, it becomes less and less likely for that to happen. So ideally, yes, it should be something that every place has, but practically speaking, it seems like it's not. I don't think it's just a rich person thing, but I do think that it's very challenging for people who have lower income to actually adhere to buy, just because if you go to like a place like Whole Foods, I've never shopped at Whole Foods in my life, even though I think that what their mindset um, for producing and selling foods that are organic, locally produced, that kind of thing. I like the business model and I like everything about it, but it's just way above my price range, and it's somewhere that my family would never have been able to afford shopping at a grocery store like that either. So I think that it becomes easily misconstrued to seem like a rich person thing, just because the prices tend to be much higher than if you go to another place where they don't have fair food practices and it costs a much lower price. It's just natural that you're going to want to spend less, so you go and buy whatever you can get for the cheapest price. Um, I wouldn't say there's stigma necessarily, but it tends to be something that I guess people with environmental concerns would have a much greater understanding of that, or I guess people who tend to study the social elements of that a lot more seem to know a greater bit about that. And a lot of people on campus, including myself, I'm not well informed enough about this stuff either, but I think that a lot of people just don't know the realities or the truths about it, and it can sometimes create a stigma of certain people like trying to push their understanding of this food or that food, and then in reality, some people just don't have the money to afford it. So I think that for me, that would have been the case. Is like if somebody had told me to eat organically, I would have been a little disheartened about that, because I know that it costs more to purchase that kind of food, and in reality, it probably is a better lifestyle to live by, but it's hard to adopt that when you know that you incur greater costs, I guess.
Thank you.